Good evening, students, and welcome to another edition of Essay Editing. Today we are looking at a student's essay for IELTS, although exactly the same essay could be seen in TOEFL. This is quite a well-written essay, well organized, but there are some structural and grammar mistakes which I have highlighted in bold. If you're listening to this on YouTube, you can see the essay printed below. I would suggest you copy and paste it into your own computer so you can read it more comfortably. There are 5 paragraphs which I have numbered, and as I have just said, the parts which I have highlighted in bold have mistakes. So the first thing you should do is try to guess what the mistakes are in these parts and try to correct them. For the writer, of course, the student, I would tell you to do the same thing, but also when you have heard my corrections, you should write in these corrections to aid your memory. I would also recommend that you keep a library of these essays for later revision. You will find that if you revise these essays maybe once a week or so, this will improve your English enormously and prevent you from making the same mistakes. Although the essay is fairly well written, it has some substantial weaknesses in the content, and I'm going to show you how to improve that very easily later on in this audio. So let's first look at the highlighted mistakes. So paragraph number 1. Nowadays there is greater equality between men and women. Second sentence, some people believe that women should not be banned from joining the military. Now the second phrase here, and they should have equal chance for joining, is repetition, so you should exclude that. Just the one sentence is sufficient. Should not be banned from joining the military, while others say that the military is not appropriate for women. And last sentence in this first paragraph, I disagree with the idea of not allowing women to enter the military. Remember, the military is composed of Army, Air Force and Navy, not only the Army. Let's move on to the second paragraph. Second sentence, military should be treated like any other organization. No S here. Next sentence, if women are not allowed to join the military, this is an attack upon freedom. A military force is not an organization, it's a group, maybe a bunch of soldiers, for example. We refer to a military force, but here we are talking about the organization, and we can't say against freedom, but we can say an attack on freedom, or we could say a limitation on freedom. And last sentence in paragraph 2, in Sweden, which is a democratic country, women are permitted to be a member of a military organization. Moving on to paragraph 3, second line, there are lots of encouragements and promotions for young people to join. Use promotions because you have used S in encouragements, and therefore this is more appropriate to the sentence, to the continuity of the sentence. next paragraph. We can't use therefore here. Better word would be consequently. We use consequently because the second sentence saying that there will not be enough people going into the military is an effect of the government making it difficult for women to join. Actually, therefore is probably okay, but I prefer consequently. But this is not a serious point. Then going on, they will lose almost half of their potential candidates, not populations, candidates. And the last sentence in paragraph 3, this is a serious matter, especially in countries where people are not willing to join the military. Moving on to paragraph 5. On the other hand, it is said that joining the military might have, I think better to say, it might be dangerous for women as they are more vulnerable than men. I think you need to clarify this in more detail, but I'll talk about that later. Next sentence, this idea usually refers to the emotional and physical differences between men and women. However, this problem can be managed with some assessment in training at the early stages of joining the military. And last paragraph and last sentence, however, the dangers to women must be recognized. Again, I think dangers is better here because effects is not really clear what we mean here. So those are the grammatical and structural mistakes. Now what we want to do is to improve the quality of the essay, which can be done quite simply by giving more detail. The main way in which this essay can be improved is to have more detail and less repetition. Because the writer has not used enough detail and given examples, they have tended to, he has tended towards repetition. So when we look at what reasons have been given to support women not going into the military, for example, in paragraph 1 he talks about fundamental differences between men and women, but doesn't go into any more detail. Again, in paragraph 4, he talks about emotional and physical differences, but again, not giving detail. And talks about negative and adverse effects in paragraph 4 and paragraph 5, but again, not giving detail. The other factors he mentions to support women having the choices, having freedom, mentioned in paragraph 2, and to enable countries to have a sufficient number of people joining the military, mentioned in paragraph 3. So let me say, first of all, the easiest way to write a good essay with good content is to have your ideas supported by examples. So in paragraph 1, the writer mentions fundamental differences. He would have been well advised then to go into a particular example, which could be, usually men are far stronger and fitter than women physically, so military jobs are more suitable for men because they often require physical strength and endurance. Going on, I watch many war movies, and in these movies the soldiers have to sometimes march for hours or even days without sleep or rest. They have to carry heavy weapons and equipment, and I think few women would be able to do this. So here I'm showing you that just with a good use of the imagination, you can write a far better essay without really any necessity to improve your English. You're just improving the content. And the other way to easily improve the content of the essay is to give both the positive and negative point of view. So this writer has said a lot about why women should be allowed to join the the military, but nothing, I think, about whether, or hardly anything about why they should not be able to, or at least not giving any detail. He has mentioned negative effects, but without giving any detail about this. So I would recommend in the second and third paragraphs giving supporting and contrary arguments for and against the woman joining the military. Against the woman joining the military, which could be in paragraph 3, we could say something like, many women may not like this kind of job. They may prefer jobs where they can express their intellectual abilities more than their physical abilities, and where they can work in a clean and healthy environment, such as an office. In society, the roles for women are more associated with intellectual skills, attractiveness, good personality, rather than the skills we associated with soldiers and military people. And lastly, another way in which more detail could have been given was to explain the question in more detail in the first paragraph. So the writer could have said more about what people actually do in the military, what kind of jobs are available. It's often useful to describe the question in detail in the beginning paragraph, because this will enable the writer to keep their ideas clear as they have defined the question at the beginning. So he could have written, for example, the military includes a wide range of jobs and activities, not only fighting soldiers, which we mostly see in movies. There are all kinds of personnel required in such a complicated organization, from nurses, doctors and medical staff to computer technicians and communications experts. You can see that by giving more detail, you're also using much wider range of vocabulary, wider range of grammar, and this is what's going to get you higher marks in the exam. Okay students, I hope that has all been clear and very helpful, and I wish you good luck with your next assignments. Bye for now.